Hey everyone! Have you ever stared blankly at a government website and felt completely overwhelmed? Like you're terrified that one wrong click could literally cost you thousands of dollars? Well, you are definitely not alone. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely demystify the Kentucky unemployment online filing process. Think of this as your indispensable guide. Whether you're filing for the very first time or returning after a gap, we are going to break down every single requirement, pitfall, and rule with a clear step-by-step walkthrough. We're going to make this super accessible so you can file with absolute confidence. Okay, let's run through our agenda for today. 1. Overview of Kentucky benefits. 2. Gathering your necessary documents. 3. Step-by-step online filing. 4. Navigating unique employment scenarios. 5. After filing, next steps. And 6. Essential resources and conclusion. Section 1. Overview of Kentucky benefits. First things first, we need to talk about the base period. This is a super important term because, simply put, you need to have enough earnings in Kentucky over the last 18 months to even establish a claim. According to the Kentucky Office of Unemployment Insurance, these benefits are really meant for folks who lose their jobs through absolutely no fault of their own. Think layoffs or company downsizing. But to get approved, the state looks back at your wage history over this exact 18-month window. If you haven't worked in Kentucky during that time, you'll actually need to apply in the state where you did work. This base period is essentially the mathematical foundation the state uses to calculate exactly how much money you might get each week. You know, a lot of people assume unemployment is only for those who have completely lost their jobs, what's called full unemployment. But if your hours have just been reduced to less than full time and you're earning less than your designated weekly benefit amount, you might actually still qualify under partial unemployment. So whether your income dropped to absolute zero or just took a big hit through no fault of your own, this system is designed to provide some temporary, partial wage replacement to help keep you afloat. Moving right along to Section 2, gathering your necessary documents. I highly recommend taking a quick screenshot right now because having all these specific documents ready to go in advance is going to save you massive headaches once you actually log in. The Kentucky portal is demanding, guys. You can't just guess your old boss's address or roughly estimate your start and end dates. You need exact details for every single employer you've had over the last 18 months. And if you fall into a special employment category, like if you're a military veteran or a federal government worker, you absolutely must have your specific discharge or standard forms ready to upload. Go ahead and gather all this into a physical folder right on your desk before you even think about starting. Here's the deal. Being fully prepared is basically your ultimate cheat sheet to keep the state's digital system from timing out on you. The Kentucky Unemployment Portal has some incredibly strict security protocols. If you're frantically digging through a file cabinet trying to find a phone number while you're halfway through the application, the system is going to time out, log you off, and you could lose all your progress. So do yourself a huge favor. Set aside a specific, quiet time, make sure you have a rock-solid internet connection, and get organized. It is your absolute best defense against technical frustration. Section 3. Step-by-step online filing. Okay, get this. Despite being a digital website, the portal is actually not available 24/7. Crazy, right? You have to access it during designated operational hours, which is generally Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time and Sundays from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you try logging on outside those hours, you'll just hit a digital brick wall. Once you are in, you'll be seamlessly redirected to ID.me, which is a third-party vendor. Every single person filing has to pass this biometric and document-based identity verification to move forward. There's no getting around it. It's just a critical step they use to prevent fraud. Right after your ID is verified, you're going to set up a highly secure 8-digit PIN. Do not lose this PIN. You are going to need it constantly to access your account. After that, you'll enter your personal profile info and all that meticulous 18-month employer history we gathered earlier. Finally, you have to legally certify that everything you typed in is completely true. And here is a huge tip to avoid a common pitfall. The entire application has to be completed and submitted by midnight Eastern Time on Saturday of your filing week. If you miss that exact deadline, the system automatically purges your data and you'll be forced to start all over again from scratch. Section 4. Navigating unique employment scenarios. Now, a super common and honestly pretty stressful question pops up right about here. What if you're still bringing in some wages or tips? Say you got laid off from your main 9-to-5, but you still pick up a weekend shift waiting tables. Do you hide that income? Absolutely not. Employers report all wages, including tips and bonuses, directly to the state. So how exactly does Kentucky calculate your benefits if you still have a little bit of money coming in? Well, the absolute magic number to remember here is 80%. That's because Kentucky is going to deduct exactly 80% of your gross wages earned during that week right from your benefit amount. It's a very specific mathematical formula. You just have to make sure you report your gross earnings, meaning the amount you earned before any taxes and deductions, for the week you actually did the work, regardless of when the paycheck finally hits your bank account. Let's walk through a quick hypothetical scenario just to see this 80% rule in action. Imagine your weekly benefit amount is approved for $400. This week, you work a few hours and you earn $100 in gross wages. When you request your payment, you report that $100. Kentucky then takes 80% of that, which is $80, and subtracts it from your $400 limit. So your final unemployment check for that specific week is going to be $320. It's a really precise system, and it's practically designed to encourage you to accept part-time work without immediately losing all of your unemployment assistance.
Section 5. After filing, next steps.
So you've hit submit, but what happens next? First off, you're going to run into some jargon called the waiting week. This simply means you will not get paid for your very first eligible week, even though you still have to claim it. I know, this trips up so many first-timers. They get approved, they file their first weekly claim, and their check is literally $0. Please note this is completely normal. By Kentucky law, all initial claims have to serve one unpaid waiting week per claim year. But listen closely. You still have to actively request benefits for that week for it to even count. If you don't actually file for it, the clock just doesn't start.
You also really need to be aware of a rigid mandate from House Bills 4 and 146. You are legally required to complete and report exactly 5 verifiable work activities every single week. You can't just casually scroll through job boards. At least 3 of your 5 activities have to be formally submitting a job application or participating in an actual interview. The other 2 could be things like attending a job fair or a skills workshop. And you must keep proof, like confirmation emails or screenshots, for a full year. Because if you get audited and you can't prove it, you could actually be forced to pay all those benefits back. There's also a really strict legal definition of what's called suitable work once you've been on benefits for 6 weeks. Once you hit that 6-week mark, you have to accept employment if it meets certain criteria. If a job pays 120% of your weekly benefit amount, is located within a 30-mile radius of your home, or can be done entirely remote on a permanent basis, and you are capable of doing it, you are expected to take it, even if it is completely outside your past industry experience. Refusing suitable work under these parameters can result in the immediate termination of your benefits. Finally, Section 6, Essential Resources and Conclusion. If you ever hit a technical wall or get confused, you can bypass a lot of stress by just contacting the call center or accessing the Citizen Connect portal. The official phone line is 502-564-2900. Also, definitely take note of Citizen Connect. Registering there is actually a mandatory requirement to be eligible for your benefits, so whatever you do, do not skip it. And I want to give a massive warning based on the state's official guidelines. Only ever use websites ending in .ky.gov. The state is never, ever going to charge you a fee to file. If a website is asking for your credit card to process an unemployment claim, it's a total scam. Just close the tab. We really have to wrap up with a vital disclaimer. Knowingly falsifying information is a crime under Kentucky law. This explainer is strictly for informational purposes to help empower you on your journey. Never guess or estimate your wages, your hours, or your reasons for separation. Always be brutally honest on every single form. And please always verify specific policies directly with Kentucky's official unemployment resources, because rules and math formulas can absolutely update over time. I really hope this step-by-step breakdown has replaced your filing anxiety with absolute clarity. Please share this explainer with anyone you know who might be navigating unemployment right now. So my final question to you is, now that you know exactly what documents you need and the strict deadlines you're up against, what is the very first step you'll take right now to get your claim securely filed today?